Hello to the wine club. First ever vlog that we're making here, where I would like to talk to you about the wines and the selection today, as opposed to writing about them. I just wanted to mix it up. Have a pretty incredible wine club today, or this month, and the focus is mostly on my Ouf and Beton line, which translates to concrete egg in French. And these babies here make some incredible wines. And I'm going to take a second to talk about these wines and the reason they're important to me, and the reason that they're important just in the wine world in general. This is fun. I don't get to talk to the wine club about the wines I make very often, on account that I just have too much to do. A lot of time in the vineyard, a lot of time in the cellar, and that doesn't lead to a lot of time in the tasting room. So first and foremost is the Bald Mountain Chardonnay, Ouf and Beton. Bald Mountain is my darling. It's my favorite wine that I make. And what I like about the concrete version is the complete neutrality of the wine. And when I say neutrality, it imparts zero flavor. Over time, as these eggs become seasoned, they get a layer of what we call tartrates. And it's like a little crystal formation that comes out in the wine when the cellar gets cold over the winter. And therefore, the wine does not even touch the concrete. So what happens is the wine is very neutral. There is a flavor to stainless steel, which a lot of people would call a neutral flavored wine. But neutral flavored wines are not really stainless, because stainless steel has its own flavor. And if you don't believe that, stick your hand in your pocket and pull out your keys or your or some coins if you got them, and take a smell. And that will be an explanation of how metal has a smell and a flavor. Not that you're going to taste the coins, it's pretty dirty, but anyhow. So first and foremost, I'd like to taste this wine with you. If you have your wine with you, probably not. I recommend drinking all of these wines now. So the interesting thing about Bald Mountain is very close to the ocean. It's lower elevation for the wines that I make, 700 feet. Has a lot of salinity to the wine, which is caused by the fog that comes in. There is a pretty distinct minerality. The minerality is reflected by the sand. Different types of minerality, but the minerality is always expressed by the soil that it's in. I like to think about terroir in two different categories. There's the above ground terroir, then there's a terroir on the ground. So minerality from the sand, salt from the air, that's pretty basic. And those are the terms I like to use. I would never tell you that something tastes like lemons or anything like that. Not that it's a bunch of bullshit, but it's not my preferred way to talk about wine. So the concrete also does not have a lot of permeability, or what they call porosity in the industry. So there's no little to zero, or nearly zero transfer of oxygen in and out of the concrete, because those eggs are about that thick. So there's no micro-oxygenation. The wine doesn't get concentrated over time. Generally, the wines are bottled rather early because there's no benefit of long-term aging. About 1 year is good. So this is a wine that is important for a lot of reasons. One being that my grandfather and my father planted this vineyard together. This is the last of the vines that were planted by my grandfather that we have. His name was Emmett, and his nickname was Bud. Spectacular guy. At one point, he was my best friend. I spent a lot of time with that man. Not to keep this too long, I want to move on to the next wine here. And this is also an Ouf en Baton. And this is a Pinot Noir. And it's from the Beauregard Ranch Vineyards, 2019. I don't know if I've tried this wine since we bottled it. It's been bottled for maybe 7 or 8 months. Again, these Ouf en Baton wines are intended to be drank and enjoyed fresh. However, they do age. Very light in color. And to me, that is amazing. So probably a lot of people know I don't really like dark, jammy, big wines. I can't say I don't like them, it's just not my preference. And I'll make them. But when I'm drinking wines with my friends, I lean towards lighter bodied wines. And you can see that it's very transparent, somewhere between a rosé and a standard Pinot Noir. Again, a lot of purity. This wine is very reflective of the terroir. Beauregard Ranch Vineyard is a higher elevation vineyard. It's about 1,800 feet. And it's the original planting that my great-grandparents purchased, 1945. And this vineyard was owned by the Keystore family before that. And they farmed the vineyards for 70 years, and my family is about 75 years. So it's a very historical heritage vineyard, one of the longest farmed vineyards in California. Little old Bonnie Doon. Bonnie Doon was very, very popular for its wines until Prohibition, and it didn't survive. And I think Beauregard Ranch was the only vineyard that did survive through Prohibition. Oh, there's a couple other small ones. But nevertheless, I enjoy this wine fresh. I enjoy this wine a little colder than cellar temperature. So 55 degrees would be a good temperature to enjoy it. I find that I like to enjoy this wine in an ice bucket by the pool when it's warmer outside, and good to drink while you're barbecuing and whatnot. So the last wine in the club is the 2017 Meritage. This doesn't have a vineyard designate on it, and the reason being is that it's from a couple of different vineyards. I don't list what the vineyards are on the label, but I do like to talk about them. The combination is Zayante Vineyard, which is a vineyard I made every single vintage of from the year 2000, which was the first harvest, until the year 2017, which was the final year that the Knowlton family farmed the vineyard. Greg Knowlton recently died. He got really sick and unfortunately passed away at around 60 years old. And so this wine is 100% Zayante. It's about 80% Merlot, 20% Cabernet Sauvignon. This is a nice right bank style Bordeaux wine. And it's got a darker color than the Pinot Noirs will have, but again, my preference is not to make wines that are big and jammy. So this is made in more of a French style. Zayante Vineyard is about 1,700 feet. It's a different terroir than Bonnie Doon. It's more rocky soil, Shakespearean sandstone, where Bonnie Doon Vineyards the vineyards in Bonnie Doon, not Bonnie Doon Vineyards. God bless them, but this is different. They're very sandy, like we talked about. This wine has a generous amount of French oak on it, which is delicious. So it's very different than these other wines. So it's silky, it's really soft, it's cozy. It's gonna have a lot of longevity. We're releasing it as a new release in 2017. I feel like this wine will age for a solid 20 years. It's at what I consider its peak drinkability now. So I don't recommend cellaring this for a long period of time, though it will. It's a good time to enjoy it. So I hope you enjoy these wines. They're a lot of fun to make. There's a lot of importance to the vineyards. I'm very particular about the way the grapes are grown and the way we craft them. It's very precision. I spent a lot of time crafting these wines. They have my family's name on them, so they're not just a reflection of me, they're a reflection of the generations before me and the generations behind me, and it's a very big importance that they're the highest quality they can be, and I feel like they are. So I highly recommend purchasing extra of this. This is the tank that it was made in. It makes about 2,000 bottles, so there's barely enough for the club. The Pinot Noir, there's not enough for the club, so the selections that are offered, this will not reach everybody. The Meritage, there's a lot of. Enjoy it, and I'll talk to you next time, I think, if I end up doing another vlog, see if you guys like it. Bye for now.